The marathon COP27 climate talks in Egypt were seen by some as a last chance to heal the planet. While some agreements were reached, others failed to take off. Here are 3 hits and 3 misses from the conference. First, the hits. Number 1, a loss and damage fund. This is a fund to help developing nations pay for the losses and irreversible damage suffered due to climate impacts such as floods. Well, COP27 agreed to create a fund to help pay for climate-linked losses and damage that poorer, more vulnerable nations have been calling for 3 decades. That said, it won't be instant. Talks will take place over the next year for the fund's design and financing sources. Number 2, reform of the multilateral banks. The World Bank and other multilateral development banks, or MDBs, have been under pressure for some time to channel a lot more climate finance to developing nations to boost climate resilience. So, what was agreed? Well, COP27's overarching political cover text calls on shareholders of MDBs and international finance institutions to rethink bank practices, scale up funding, and ensure easier access to climate finance. Hit number 3, the Mitigation Work Programme. At 2021's COP26 climate talks in Glasgow, nations agreed to create a work program to mitigate greenhouse gas emissions. They aimed to agree on the urgently needed design of the program at COP27. So what was agreed? Well, the outcome was somewhat mixed. While the program is set to run for an initial 4 years out to 2026, critics say its focus on exchanges of views, information and ideas will result in ineffectual outcomes. However, others say nations will get to talk to and learn from each other. There will also be events with a view to unlocking finance. And now, the misses. Miss number 1, fossil fuels. This is the big one. Burning coal, oil and gas are the main sources of greenhouse gas emissions, heating up the planet and causing the climate crisis. So, what was agreed? Well, despite intense pressure from the European Union and vulnerable nations, COP27 did not agree on the call to phase out all fossil fuels. In short, COP27 failed to send a strong political message to hasten the switch from polluting energy. Miss number 2, 1.5 degrees Celsius. This temperature is the upper limit for the Earth's warming of pre-industrial levels. The science says that warming beyond 1.5 degrees will see the planet facing far more extreme climate impacts. And right now, the Earth is warmer by 1.2 degrees. Nations resolved to pursue further efforts to limit the temperature increase to 1.5 degrees. But before they pat themselves on the back, the reality is that global greenhouse gas emissions are still rising when they should be falling. Add in the weak fossil fuel language and COP27 dashed hopes that the 1.5 degree limit could still be reached. Miss number 3, adaptation. Developing nations must adapt to climate impacts, such as shifting communities away from disaster-prone areas, and they urgently need funding to help them do this. COP26 in Glasgow decided that developed nations should double adaptation funding from 2019 levels by 2025. However, the final text at COP27 withdrew this call. A small consolation is that COP27 did advance work on defining a global goal on adaptation to better understand the needs of developing countries. So, in the end, the Loss and Damage Fund is a huge win for developing nations. But overall, COP27 didn't deliver the level of global ambition needed or hoped for to fight the accelerating climate crisis.